AFC West, and this is gonna cap it off. This is it. And by the way, stick around for Scotty A. Smith's coming in hot, and we have a nice little thing with Vin Scully at the very end. So don't go anywhere.
That was the longest exit I've ever seen for a Code Yellow. Spam Code Yellow in the chat. I hope Chris had time to make it to the bathroom. I was worried he was going as he was closing all that out. But yes, we obviously have reached the pinnacle of the division previews, covering the best division in football this year, the AFC West. Obviously, Chris being a Broncos fan, me being a Chiefs fan, we got a lot to cover with this one. So hang with us here as we get into the AFC West. I'm hyped for it. I do have it coming in hot to close, and we have a special close, a special someone that's going to close us out that is far more eloquent with their speech than we are. So, and a younger version of me, probably. I've heard him described as a younger version of me quite often, even when he was 87 years old. So, with that, I'll wait for Chris so I don't dive in too much here, but G-Girl in the chat, I'm going to take a stab at the division. Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders. So, to me, that's just a list of the teams. That's not the order, right, G-Girl? You're not saying that's the order. Or did you just have a typo at the front? Maybe you went alphabetical with the C's and you just forgot that the Chiefs should be in front of the Chargers. I don't know for sure.
Don't clown on my graphics. What are we?
We weren't clowning on your graphics. No one even mentioned your graphics, Chris. Hey, by the way, you still owe me a Pacifico.
I do owe you a Pacifico. Until things get aggressive and bones are broken.
Just, gently open the door when you come back in.
If you missed that story,
yeah.
we're not telling it again.
We'll cover that some other time.
We'll cover it another time. But we are getting into the most competitive division in the NFL this season, and this could possibly be the best division in NFL history, Scotty. I mean, at what point do you remember in your years, you watch a lot of football, an arms race like the AFC West, and I mean, like the AFC in general, but the AFC West specifically, this is unprecedented. Let me dive into the numbers here when it comes to the conference division winners, and then we'll go to the win totals as we go through. But division winners for the AFC West: Chiefs are favored plus 155, Chargers plus 240, Broncos plus 260, right on, pretty much dead even with the Chargers, and then there's a little bit of a gap with the Raiders coming in last plus 700. So a lot of people loving the Chargers and Broncos and the Chiefs, obviously, in this division. But the Raiders have made a lot of new additions to their defense, to where I feel like the Raiders fans have a lot of reasons to get excited as well, right? They got some pass rushers, but they have some other. Let's start there. You want to start with the Raiders on this one, Scotty?
Sure. Let's
start with the Raiders, and led by Derek Carr, obviously a guy he's a Raider to the end. He's going to retire as a Raider because that's what he wants. But Josh McDaniels is the biggest change coming into this one, right? Succeeding John Gruden in Las Vegas. They had the interim coach when John Gruden left. Then Josh McDaniels gets brought on. McDaniels brought wide receivers coach Mick Lombardi, not Mike Lombardi, with him as an offensive coordinator. So, there's a lot of New England influences when it comes to the Los Angeles Raiders here. Key free agent departures for the Raiders.
Did you just real quick, I did not know they were in Los Angeles.
Or Las Vegas. I'm sorry. Las Vegas.
Sorry. Are you sure? Maybe they moved to LA. Everyone's doing it. It's the cool thing to do.
It's Las Vegas. There's Los Angeles, Las Vegas, all the same. No, it's not.
Is it though?
No, it's not. Key free agent departures for the Vegas Raiders: Zay Jones, Deshaun Jackson, old man Deshaun, and Brian Edwards. That's what happens when we get.
Sound it out, Chris. Sound it out. Let me know.
This is our last division preview, right?
I have a lot of work reading to children, so I can read to you too if you need it.
So we got Derek Carr obviously running things. Kenyon Drake, $11 million to Kenyon Drake coming in. Josh Jacobs, running back style. I feel like they're going to be able to have a nice little running game. They always typically have a nice little running game that they'll be able to get going. But Hunter Renfrow, and the biggest addition on the offense is Davonte Adams. They were able to pull him from Green Bay and give Derek Carr a weapon that he can work with. Dynamic downfield. So dynamic tight end. Darren Waller is another piece that they'll be able to utilize as a number one tight end. So overall, there's some nice pieces to keep in mind when you're looking at this Las Vegas Raiders team. And that's not even including some of the additions that they made on defense. So I mean, Chandler Jones coming from the Arizona Cardinals, Max Crosby coming off the edge. I think if you're looking at a big advantage in this Las Vegas team, it's going to be that pass rush. I think they'll be able to get a nice little push on that edge to get pressure on a Mahomes, on a Herbert, on a Wilson. Like, though, that's their goal, is to try to get those quarterbacks uncomfortable. So with that being said, all they need to do, I think the weakness here is the secondary. I think the secondary is where they can be susceptible in a quarterback division. Might have some trouble. But Scotty, they got the Raiders finishing last in this division. Do you concur?
Sorry, for a second I lost focus because we had our first ever That's What She Said in the chat. And it took like a year and 8 months to get there, but we did it. Thanks, Marie. I had a quick giggle at that one. Got it. That's what she said in there. You guys can read it for yourselves. Do I concur with the Raiders finishing fourth? I do not. Chris.
Okay. Well, that only means
you have any more questions, or is that it?
That's all I need to know, because I already know who you got finishing fourth at this point.
Listen, I think the Raiders. People forget the Raiders made the playoffs last year. They finished second in this division. They made the playoffs. They went on the road against the Bengals and lost by a touchdown where they got within 10 yards of tying the game at the end of the game. They were inside the 10, I believe, or right around the 10-yard line of the Bengals. Couldn't get it in. Leaving the door open in the chat on that one. For maybe a second, that's what she said. Just if you guys want, no big deal. Totally up to you. And then you add, I don't know, the best wide receiver in football in Davonte Adams to go along with Chandler Jones off the edge to pair with Max Crosby. I actually like the trade for Rock Ya-Sin. I've always liked Rock Ya-Sin, who's drafted out of the Colts. I wanted the Chiefs to take him a few years ago when he was in the draft. A nice corner who had some struggles in Indy at times, but I like him a lot. This team, I think, is just like hated beyond belief. And I understand they haven't done anything. Like Derek Carr, let's pump the brakes on him being a Hall of Fame quarterback until he maybe wins a playoff game. He's been in the league for like 9 seasons, never won a playoff game. Actually, last year was the first one he's played in, because the other time they made the playoffs, he got hurt right before they were in the playoffs, so he didn't even play in that one. So last year was his first ever playoff appearance. You can blame the defense some. I like Derek Carr. We ranked him, I believe, like 12th in our QB rankings, which I think is pretty accurate for where Derek Carr is. If he has time to throw with Davonte Adams and Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, they're gonna move the sticks. Decent offensive line. I think offensively they're good. I worry about the back end still with their secondary, and there are 3 teams like Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders on defense totally ignored the fact that you have to have a linebacking core. All 3 linebacking cores are really poor, but they're pretty strong in everywhere else on defense with a lot of those 3 teams. Maybe not the Raiders as much. But I think they finished third. I think they, who knows? The division is so hard. And when I say third, I think all these teams win. And granted, they play each other twice each, but I think each of these teams wins certainly 7 games, and I think probably 8. I think each of these teams wins at least 8 games. You're looking at last place in this division being 7-10, 8-9. So I'm not dogging on any team, but I think the Raiders finish third. That's my call.
You could realistically have 3 playoff teams all go like from this division itself.
I mean,
you could.
I think they're good enough, but the problem is they have to play each other. Where
true,
some of these teams that maybe aren't as good, that have a softer schedule, might get in above them just because of the difficulty of the schedule with the AFC West. Like the Chiefs have the hardest schedule in football, no doubt. And if you don't believe me, look up their schedule. They have like 3 easy games, and the rest are not, difficult. Difficult games.
Yeah, they're challenging. 100%. Let's see. Division with bad linebackers and good tight ends. Great tight ends, says Cuban. It's like the NL West. Great top to bottom. Yep. You're right on that, Cuban.
Thanks, Cuban.
just give us that love. So yeah, I still think that the Raiders, again, they're going to be competitive in a lot of games. The worst team in this division is still better than most teams, even in like the other divisions of the AFC and then most of the NFC. Like they would be top 1 or 2 teams in every other division, mostly in like some of these other divisions. So this is so hard to like break this down. That's why this is going to be must-see TV each and every single week when we're getting into the NFL season, and we're going to be here for it each and every single time. Raiders will suffer this season. You will see, says Marie.
Marie does not like the Raiders. I've gathered through the chat. Not a Raiders fan.
Look at Scotty talking about them DBs again. Must sound familiar.
Is he calling me a DB? Is that what that is? Is that what that was?
I think that's where he's going with that.
Wow.
So
McDubbit? I said McDubbits.
I think that the Raiders, I have them at the bottom of this division. We'll talk about that at the end, but maybe we could recap this whole thing. But let's dive into the Chargers.
Oh, real quick. The most recent comment, Aegis? I don't know how to say it. Aegis?
Yeah.
Aegis? I'll hold off on the bad linebacker until we see how Nick Bolton... No. I said 3 of the 4 teams in this division have bad linebacker play. I wasn't talking about the Chiefs.
Let's just say the Broncos. The
Chiefs have good linebacker play.
Need to be on the upswing when it comes to
The Broncos haven't had good linebackers in like a century.
We haven't had good linebackers since
go back to like
Al Wilson. Al Wilson.
No, you've had a DJ. What's his name?
DJ Williams. DJ Williams was post Al Wilson. He was good, but he didn't have a lot of help. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of help either.
Then you got to go back to like Bill Romanowski spitting on people.
Old Bill was his own beast, right? Yeah. Oh, Bill. So let's talk about the Chargers next. The most hyped team on the planet. The San Diego or Los Angeles.
San Diego. But it's ironic that you called the Raiders the Los Angeles Raiders, but the team that actually resides in Los Angeles, you call San Diego.
Totally.
You're just thinking about TwitchCon, Chris.
I am. I have TwitchCon in my head, the beach, and hanging out with all the lab rats on the beach. That's all I care about right now. Los Angeles Chargers over under set at 9.5, and that's minus 150. So Vegas is very confident that they will get to at least 10 wins this season. Now they are run by Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is one of the best young talents in this entire NFL. He's on his way to having a career in this league. So, they have a nice solid roster here. Obviously, Austin Eckler's coming back in the backfield. Has a little bit of an injury back and forth with like staying healthy. Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers. Nick Wright has him as his 14th, moved up to 12th after his little ribbing of Russell Wilson in social media this past week. So Keenan Allen, Mike Williams bring in the top of the end of the wide receiver core, but not a lot after that. So there's a little bit of a depth issue when it comes to those guys staying healthy. As long as they stay healthy, they'll be fine. Joshua Palmer.
I like Palmer. I like Palmer.
Palmer's coming in as the third wide receiver. So, but outside of that, like I don't know if I recognize any other names on that wide receiver list. So I worry about them there, especially if they have any injuries. Mike Williams, he's not the young chicken anymore. We'll see. Gerald Everett is their tight end. And then defensively, Joey Bosa is a monster. So Joey Bosa will be Khalil Mack, who was brought in. Can you imagine Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on the other side of this line? Like, oof. That's pretty damn
nice one too.
That's a pretty damn good lineup
If both of them stay healthy, that's
Khalil Mack,
a filthy 1-2.
Khalil Mack, that could cause issues for any quarterback in our division. Honestly, like that one, I don't care if you're Patrick Mahomes, I don't care if you're Wilson, I don't care if you're Lamar Jackson, you could run around. Those two will cause problems for people if they stay healthy and if they're effective. Now, Khalil Mack has kind of lost some time in Chicago. He kind of wasted some years in Chicago. So whether or not he's going to come back and, still be able to be as consistent, but with Joey Bosa taking a lot of that off the one edge, I think this is a big, big strength for the the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to keep doing it. And I think that's crazy to think about when it comes to game planning for this team. But they are projected in a lot. I mean, Mr. King with the NFL had these guys ranked. What did I have them at? What did they have them at? Number 3?
I don't know, like 3 or something. Getting a little aggressive. Thank you for the raid, Fireball.
Hope you had a great stream. Welcome in. H-Town, welcome in as well.
If I had some Fireball, I'd shoot some for you in honor of that, but I do not.
Hope you had a great stream, Fireball. Hope you had a great stream. Hope everything went well for you. Go give Fireball some love over there. If you haven't already, give him a follow. He is great. And I checked a little bit of your VOD the other day, Fireball. Love it, man. Keep up the streaming. It's fun to check out other streamers in the space for sure. So so the notable free agent additions, again, Gerald Everett from the Seattle Seahawks. They lost Justin Jackson, running back, and they lost Jared Cook, but obviously tight end on that one.
They got a better Jackson.
They got a better one. Yep. And a key addition from the draft, Isaiah Spiller. He's fine. He's not going to blow up. You have Austin Eckler, right? Austin Eckler, one of the best all-around backs in football. He finished 2021 with 1,500 total yards, 20 touchdowns. He has a high running back one prediction. When we get into fantasy, we'll talk a lot about Austin Eckler. But I think top to bottom, Keenan Allen, 106 and 138 and 6. I feel like there's a lot to like about what Keenan Allen's continue to do, but I just think the depth is the biggest issue here.
Marie asked a good question. Did you forget about the poll we had before, Chris? I don't even know the results. Who is prettier? Who's prettier, Chris?
Oh, I think it finished out with Jimmy G.
Jimmy G was prettier than Trey Lance?
Jimmy G.
All right, well, start a new one. Me or as a younger version of whoever the hell that psychopath was. No, I'm just kidding. What else do we got going on? What's up, H-Town? Welcome back from your softball game. Hope you hit some bombs tonight. G-Girl, Keenan, Mike Williams, underrated. I mean, he got paid. He got paid like $20 million, which now is kind of light for a wide receiver, apparently. But he got paid this offseason. And that 1-2 is, I mean, I definitely think the Chargers 1-2 with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen is underrated. That's a really good 1-2 to go with Herbert. And I mean, Rashawn Slater was an amazing pick at left tackle last year in the first round to go with Austin Eckler. It's a really good offense. They add Khalil Mack in a trade. They get J.C. Jackson, the top corner in the free agent market from New England this offseason. It feels like there are 3 teams going all in a little bit trying everything they can to not allow the Chiefs to win the division for the 37th year in a row. Is it? Someone else check that, but I feel like it's 36. I'm pretty sure that's right. Maybe not, but it's close. So I props to these teams to move everything, push the chips into the middle. They're doing everything they can to be great, And listen, it's just so hard. You see the Chargers on paper, you're like, I get why people are excited about them, but you and I, Chris, it's so hard because we hear it every year with the Chargers. So it's so hard. Like, ironically, the guy I was golfing with today, who is an Oregon fan, so he's a Herbert fan, so he's like, what do you think about the Chargers? I'm like, well, they just get hyped up every offseason. He's like, he thought I was joking. And I'm like, I'm not joking. They literally get hyped up every offseason. He's like, really? I'm like, oh, it's ridiculous. The Chargers get ridiculously hyped up. Let's keep in mind, this team choked. This team was better than the Raiders in my mind last year and choked against the Raiders in that week, I guess, 18 game on Sunday night, epic game. But they should have beat the Raiders. And they lost other games. They lost to the Texans when they had no business losing to them. So the Chargers, you just can't trust them week to week. And until I see them be a consistent product on the field and win games that they're supposed to win. And also Brandon Staley, Brandon Staley is super aggressive, right? He will go for it on fourth down, left and right. But at times he kind of lost his damn mind last year. Like he went for it like he was playing Madden and it did not matter. Like he was in straight Madden mode at time, and I'm like, chill a little bit, dude. Chill. I like aggressive, but he took it to like a whole nother level that we've never even remotely seen in the NFL. It was his first year coaching. Maybe he dials it back this year. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know, but he was interesting. So that's another factor. He can win you games with his aggressiveness, like they did. He won against the Chiefs in Arrowhead because of their aggressive nature, and he went for it on fourth down, and they picked up like every one of them on like fourth and long even. And then he did the same thing when they played in LA, not San Diego, Chris, in LA, Chiefs Chargers. And they lost that game. He lost that game for the Chargers because of his aggressive nature. So it wins games, it loses games. I think if he can dial it back a little bit, remain aggressive, but not psychotic, I think that equals a lot of wins. And I think the Chargers are a force. I think they finished second in this division. And I think the second best quarterback, second best roster, even top to bottom, maybe even best roster in this. A lot of people would rank this as the best roster in this division. So they're going to be very good. Staley scares me a little bit with his coaching, but I got them finishing second, making the playoffs, and we'll see what they do from there.
There you go. Chargers. Yeah, I'm with you with the fact that I want to see them. They're a playoff team. I think they're a playoff team. I think there's going to be a 2 or 3 max playoff teams, 3 at the max, coming out of this division. There's
4 would be a record, Chris. There's never been 4 teams from a division that made the playoffs.
Let's make a record this year. Let's do it.
But how do all these other teams make the playoffs if they go 0-2 against the Chiefs?
Well, that's great that you say that, because I think the Broncos are going to do some work against you guys this year. We're gonna have some fun with you guys this year, because you know what? We're ready to ride. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Did you see? By the way, Keenan Allen making fun of that in camp this week?
That's what I was mentioning earlier when I was like,
I didn't. Yeah.
I mentioned that when we first brought up the Chargers. I was like,
boat fam, let's ride.
Let's ride. If you got college kids doing it all across the country, hey, you know what? Let's ride. It's happening. And let's talk about the Broncos. Let's talk about my boys here. So the Broncos, obviously, bad news this past week. Bad news. There wasn't some great notes coming out of Broncos country. But Broncos fan, Marie, Diacola, all of you guys, hey, we're going to be representing Broncos country this year. It's going to be fantastic. We got a quarterback this year. STG, hello. What's up, STG? Welcome in. Hey, they need to show me that they can stop choking first for the Chargers. True. Agreed.
But you only choke until you don't.
That's true. Let's see. Scotty believing in the Chargers. Oh yeah, Fireball. Before I go, I just want to say that I have a channel where I store past VODs. I upload once a week. If you have a chance to check it out, okay, yeah, go check out Fireball VODs. There you go.
It's fire, Chris.
It's fire. Let's see. And Broncos country spam. All right, so Broncos, we're busy this offseason. They brought in Nathaniel Hackett. They have a new coach. Big deal, right? They brought in a new owner, right? We have Walton. Oh, by the way, did you see that we got a couple other big time owners?
Well, you must have been thrilled. There was a Formula One.
owner. Yeah.
By the way, I looked up. I thought it was fake, but I'm pretty sure it's real. Now I'm afraid to say it now. I should probably look it up. Like some small portion, like small stake dolphin owners. It can't be real because I saw it was literally it can't be real. No, before I say anything, I'm gonna look it up.
We have a weird mix of ownership group. We have Condoleezza Rice. We have Lewis.
It is real.
Lewis Hamilton. We have the richest owner in the league. There's a lot of off-season stuff happening when it comes to the front office. G Girl's all about Javonte Williams. Aegis is Hamilton. Yeah, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. We got a lot of fun people in the ownership group now.
The Dolphins have partial owners. Mark Anthony. Okay. Not the headliner. Gloria Estefan.
What?
Serena Williams.
Okay.
Venus Williams.
Okay.
My favorite, Fergie.
Fergie.
Fergie has ownership stake in the Miami Dolphins. Keep in mind, Stephen Ross can't be involved for a little bit. I want to see Fergie in charge. Can we get Fergie in charge of the Dolphins for a little bit? Can we? I don't know, a GoFundMe, a something. I don't know what we need to do, but I think the world needs to see Fergie in charge of the Dolphins.
I mean, they've had so much success with all these celebrities, right?
I mean, speaking of women in power, I think Football Wife was like, can we get a cheers for all the ladies in the chat, which they are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Cheers to the ladies. I'll drink to that.
But Fergie, Mark Anthony.
Well, I knew Mark Anthony and wasn't J-Lo in there, and then they divorced, and then she went our way. Yeah, we're off subject here.
Are we though? we might have our largest viewership ever because people are like, let's talk about Fergie running the Dolphins.
So, yes. Yeah, we have an interesting ownership group, but we were able to get out of Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. Unfortunately, we lost Noah Fant, tight end here, which I thought was a nice piece. He goes. We got a nice little tight end to fill in the back end with what's his name? Big O in the tight end core. So
I'm not gonna try and say that name, Chris.
Well, that's why I said Big O. That's why I was like, there's no shot I'm gonna pronounce that correctly. Albert. Oh no, I'm not even gonna try. Alberto. We're just leave it at that. And so Russell Wilson is the biggest addition here. And I think that the biggest thing that I see, especially in Denver, especially across the country, is a lot of people don't love to give Russell Wilson because he's a nerd. He's like a awkward guy. He does the let's ride. He's a short guy. He's a weird, but here's the thing. I think this offseason, he's done more than any quarterback we've had since Peyton Manning when it comes to actually putting in the work in the offseason. And
you mean eating?
He's not fat. Get out of here.
Did you see the photo? Even G-Girl's like, he got beefy. The photo was from a week ago, Chris.
And we made a big deal about Leonard Fournette, and he'll be fine, and they'll all be fine.
But you're talking about how much work he's put in.
I'm not worried.
What work was he putting in?
It's not about what he's eating. It's about how he plays the game.
He ate his chunky soup,
and he will be fine. He'll be just fine.
Super thick.
He'll be just fine.
You might want to line him up at running back, maybe fullback.
I mean, if he could,
might be the spot.
I mean, if he could get me that first down on 3rd and 1, that's something we haven't been able to do very frequently. So I'll take it. I'll take that quarterback sneak or that little QB.
No, I'm not. He's not at QB anymore, Chris. He's fullback 1 on the roster.
But he's handed the ball off to Javonte Williams. Melvin Gordon's coming back to town. Let's ride beefcakes as Broncos. That's right.
Ride beefcake.
Let's ride. So
slap Scotty Marie. Listen, he was a little thick.
You've already mentioned you don't like the win total on the over for the Broncos. You think it's the worst bet in football. So I'm not going to.
No way you don't at least. The worst case scenario you push. At 10?
No, it's not.
10,
it's 9.5. 9.5.
When I said that, it was at 10, and I was like, what?
I'll take double-digit wins for the Broncos. Easy. I'll take the over 9.5. That's fine. They'll win 10 games. Guaranteed. I'll bet you on that one.
Let's do it at 10.
We'll do that at 10. We'll do that before the season.
Marie says it's at 10, so
I have FanDuel Sportsbook open right now, and it's 9.5 minus 135. But I don't know. DraftKings might be different. Depends on your sportsbook. So just keep that in mind. But
Broncos, what do you think he really weighs? I think he's, what is he, 5'8", probably 220. I don't think that's serious.
Either way. So let's dive into their roster here. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, the big ones here. Obviously, lost some depth at when they lost Tim Patrick. That's a big one. I think that's a huge piece for me because I think he was one of the better receivers on this core going into the mid to late last season. He was very reliable, and he was a guy that really took advantage of those red zone opportunities. So, with that being said, I really think the Broncos take a hit there. So, Alberto, I think he'll be fine. I think I'm worried just as much as I am about the San Diego offensive depth when it comes to their receiver core. I'm pretty worried about this if we lose Sutton, Jeudy, or Hamler. Jeudy and Hamler both coming off injuries. It's that's where my concern lies with this team because Russell Wilson needs someone to throw to, and you don't have a lot after that. Otherwise, Patrick Surtain, I think he'll take a step forward. You got some nice free safety and Justin Simmons holding on the backside. Kareem Jackson re-signed. Ronald Darby re-signed. So our secondary, I think, is one of the better secondaries in the AFC West, where I think other teams may not have as good of a secondary. So I'll take that in a quarterback league where we're trying to defend a lot of what we have going with these other quarterbacks. Where we have a disadvantage is the pass rush. I think we don't have a great pass rush in comparison to the other teams in this. And that's a big, big factor. But keep in mind, Denver Broncos defense finished 8th in yards allowed, 6th in passer rating allowed, 15th average yards allowed per carry, and 3rd in red zone touchdown percentage allowed in last year. Pretty good for a team that doesn't have a really good linebacking core and really kind of struggled when it came to, that was also due to us holding the ball a long period of time and not doing anything with it. So they got a lot of rest. There's a lot of factors that go into that. I get that. But the defense had a nice little, the Broncos defense wasn't terrible last season. And I think it'll be good this season. I think it'll be fine in this division. I think, again, our secondary is where we're going to rely if we stay healthy. So that's going to pay dividends when it comes to the long balls. We don't have to worry about Tyreek in Kansas City. We don't have to worry about, there are good receivers. We have to worry about Davonte Adams, but I digress. Either way, I think the Broncos are competitive enough to finish second in this division. And I think that they will over the San Diego. I'm going to do that every single time.
It's unbelievable. They haven't been in San Diego for 3 years, Chris.
Maybe that's how much
3 years.
Maybe that's how much I care about the San Diego or the Los Angeles Chargers.
San Diego Superchargers.
They will always be San Diego. Always. So there you have it. I think that's where we're at. I think the Russell Wilson is a massive deal. He's a top 10 quarterback in this league, and even given his heftiness, his height, his everything, he'll be just fine. Yep. I think he'll survive. The running game, Javonte Williams, I'm excited to see what he has. You want to talk about fantasy stud? If you have you don't like him, I do.
Stop now, Chris. Stop now.
Okay.
don't advise. Well, actually, advise everyone to take Javonte Williams. Everybody that's playing in our fantasy league, take Javonte first round.
There you
Second
go.
round, third round. If he's available, take him.
Okay.
All right. So, listen, Chris. I know. I'm going to be called a hater. I'm going to be called all sorts of things.
I'm ready for this. I've been preparing this for a whole week.
For picking, and I didn't know. I knew I would pick Denver to be third or fourth, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, why are they better than the Raiders, who finished second in this division and only got better this year? Much better. Listen, I'm worried about the reports out of camp is that the defense is literally won every day of camp. I'm fine with this defense winning a lot of the days. Every day? I'm worried about, you have a new quarterback. You have a new head coach who's a first-time head coach. You have a first-time offensive coordinator. You have a first-time defensive coordinator. This is unheard of, Chris. I don't know if this has ever happened. I literally don't know if you've ever had a team that has a new quarterback with a new head coach that's a first-time head coach and a first-time offensive coordinator and a first-time defensive coordinator. I literally don't think that's happened before. I think there's a learning curve, Chris. I really do. I think moving from the positions they're going to, none of them have been a coordinator outside of the head coach, obviously, Nathaniel Hackett. He's almost as cheesy, by the way, as Russell. So they're going to get along great.
They're going to get along great.
Yeah. I'm worried about this offense, Chris. And then you lose Patrick, and everyone's like, well, at least if we're going to lose somebody at one position, at least we're deep at wide receiver. And I'm like, where is the deepness? Where is the deepness? Jerry, I think what people look at is Jerry Jeudy's a first round pick. KJ Hamler's a second round pick. Cortland Sutton's a second round pick. So you have a lot of draft capital in those three guys, right? However, outside of Cortland 3 years ago, I should say 3 seasons ago, where he had a great season, then he tore his ACL. He wasn't great. I feel like players in general that come off of ACLs come back, and that first year, they're not who they were. So I expect a bump from Cortland this year. Like, Cortland wasn't very good. Like, Cortland had like 750 yards last year. Like, not great for who Cortland should be, right? I know the quarterback play is going to be improved, but that's not great. However, I think relying on KJ Hamler this year when he's not even close to practice, I mean, he just got removed off the pup and he's ways away. I think relying on Hamler at all this year for the Broncos is not a good strategy. So you're left with Jeudy, who's incredibly unreliable, and Cortland Sutton, who I think will be good, but not great. Like, this wide receiver core is not deep, and it's not that good. You don't even have a number one. You have debatably 2 number 2s left. I think Patrick was your most reliable wide receiver, quite frankly, and the guy who's your best third down option, because he will catch anything that comes his way. He will not drop the ball like a Jerry Jeudy will on third down. So I think that's a pretty big loss. As far as the running back situation, I think everything I've seen out of camp is that it's not going to be different from last year, Chris. It's going to be 1A, 1B. Javonte Williams is going to get carries, and you still have, why am I drawing a blank? Melvin Gordon, who's going to get about the same amount of carries. It's a tandem. It's a tandem backfield. So anyone hyping Javonte Williams in fantasy, I think is wrong. Because everything out of camp that I've heard is that it's 1A, 1B. And that they're going to split carries. So I agree with you. I think this is the best secondary probably in the AFC West. I don't like their front seven that much, though. Randy Gregory, offseason signing. I like Randy Gregory, but he hasn't practiced yet. He's hurt, hasn't practiced, and doesn't seem like he's close to practicing. Nick Chubb on the other side, can't rely on Nick Chubb, right? Like, can't. No, I say Nick Chubb. Bradley Chubb, sorry. Bradley Chubb on the other side. Can't rely on him. He's injury prone and hasn't proven to be anything since his rookie year, really. So the pass rush isn't great. You lost Shelby Harris in the interior, which was your best interior guy. So many Chubbs, right, G-Girl? Like, so many Chubbs.
So many Chubbs.
Way too many Chubbs. But I think this team can build and is could be very good in a year, but I think it's gonna take time. I think to meld with the wide receiver core and the offensive line and the play caller and to become a first-time head coach and first-time coordinator on offense and defense, all of that is gonna have some learning curve to it, and that's why I think they finished 4th. And honestly, I think that's I feel pretty good about that.
I don't know. There always is. We see this in any sport, right? Any sport, you have a lot of turnover in the offseason. There's a lot of getting up to speed with, and I do acknowledge that they will have a learning curve. I just think that with this roster, I feel like the biggest thing, and one of the bigger things that I'm worried about too, is given the fact that a lot of these other teams in the on the defensive side, when it comes to the pass rush, got a nice little boost when it came to finding pass rushers. You got, we already mentioned the pass rushers in Las Vegas. We already mentioned about what the Chargers have. And honestly, those two teams have the best pass rushers in the AFC West. And that's what concerns me a little bit more, especially, I acknowledge that also Russell Wilson.
Fingers, say to the face.
Russell Wilson. Slap.
No, I was laughing at Broncos. Blah blah blah. Love the Chiefs. Blah blah blah. Call me Charlie Brown right now. Like totally. Blah blah blah.
But yeah, I think it's weird. Like, this feels like a rock paper scissors division, right? Like, some teams that are good at one thing may not be as good as other, right? Like, there are certain aspects of certain teams that have better advantages. The Broncos secondary, the Chargers, and the they have better pass rush, whereas the Chiefs have a better quarterback in the grand scheme of things. Like, and they're all good quarterbacks, but I feel like there's just certain areas. I mean, the Raiders don't have a good second. Like, there's all sorts of different ways you can balance some of these matchups. So it'll be interesting to see how these end up playing out over the course of the season. Either way, it's going to be must-see TV when it comes to how this pans out. But we've spent a lot of time on the Broncos. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Chiefs. Chiefs, obviously.
I'll let you go first on the Chiefs.
All right. So Chiefs are minus 210 to win the Super Bowl in general. Oh, no, wait, hold on. No. Sorry. That was the win.
What?
That was the win plus 10 games. My bad. I was looking at the wrong thing. Plus 950 to win the Super Bowl behind Tampa and Buffalo, which means they're favored to win this division. Plus 155 over the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. So the Chiefs have a whole middle school full of receivers.
I love G-Girl before was like talking about the Broncos. She's like, I don't agree with you a lot, and you're so spot on now. Which I feel like every time anyone compliments me in the chat, they preface it with like, you're kind of an idiot, but I agree with you on this point. And that's fair. I am an idiot. It's totally fair. I've noticed that through time that, like, even when they're like, hey, you're making really good points, it's prefaced by like, but you're also an idiot.
Yeah, that's true.
Just had to say that.
No, just kidding. All right. So obviously Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league. Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in the league, if not the best coach in the league. Key free agent additions, obviously Ronald Jones, running back from the Bucks, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Packers, Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, key free agent departures. Big one. Got one big one.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill, traded to Miami.
I thought you were going to say Dan Sorensen.
No.
That threw me off.
That's a big one. Dan Sorensen is, if only you could have kept Dan Sorensen. Let's just say that. I think you're pretty much hyped on Skye Moore. Skye Moore is a nice little promising player from your second round draft from the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think that could be a nice little boost for you, especially with, here's the thing. I think the biggest thing going into this season was the wide receivers. You lost one of your dynamic wide receivers. But for me, that's not one of the things that I really focus on, because when you have the best quarterback in the league, you can make anybody good, right? Like that's kind of the calling card of a good quarterback, right? A really, really good quarterback, great quarterback. So I'm not too worried about that. I think that he'll maybe revive some of the careers of like a Juju Smith, but I mean, Mecole Hardman's what, 24? You got Juju's 25. They're both young kids. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he's an old man. I don't know if he's got a lot left. I mean, he's 27, but he could do some things, right?
It's like he's old. He's old. He's 20. He's 27.
But he's been around a little bit. I mean, he'll be fine.
He's one of the best deep threats in the league. But yeah, go on.
Okay. So, and then you got Josh Gordon. Nice, you see, I think there's some, it doesn't matter who you put. He's going to be able to get people the ball. You got Travis Kelce still. I think some of the areas that I mean, you got Frank Clark and Chris Jones on the defensive side, a defense that struggled early on in the season, but also picked it up towards the end of the season, got better and better as the season went on. So that was promising for them, but it was a little concerning early on. This is a team that didn't win big like they are used to winning, as they used to, like when, a lot of close games, a lot of games where they didn't necessarily cover the big spreads.
I think that was 2 years ago, Chris.
They didn't cover a lot of big spreads. No, that was the past year. They didn't cover a lot of big spreads, but they still won games. So they were competitive in a lot of games. But, I mean, looking at this team, I think, and I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at this roster real quick. Let me look at the depth chart here, because I'm looking at this. Where is it? Okay. Secondary: Juan Thornton, Justin Reed, Trent McDuffie, Willie. I mean,
I'm not even sure you said any of those names correctly. Say those again.
Juan Thornhill,
safety. Yep.
Justin Reed,
great. Love that safety.
Trent McDuffie,
1-2. Rookie first round pick. Yep.
Okay.
Corner.
So he's got some learning to do, right? I mean, he'll be fine, but he's got some learning to do.
Maybe.
Linebacking core: Nick Bolton, Jermaine Carter, Willie Gay.
And probably a rookie we drafted that moves in, but Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are very, very good.
Okay. So, middle linebacker, maybe a little bit of a hole then?
No, linebacking core is not a hole.
Okay.
Leo Schnall will move into the other linebacker, and Leo Schnall and Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are by far the best linebacking core in this division. Not even remotely close. Okay. Very, very good linebacking core.
Okay.
Go on, Chris. What else you got?
And then pass rush. Frank Clark, Chris Jones.
Yep.
Okay. I mean,
Carr Laftis, we drafted in the first round, and then we recently signed Carlos Dunlap, who's probably not on your website you're looking at.
Best defensive end in football.
In football, he did have like a decent amount of sacks last year and not a lot of opportunities. So we'll see what happens with him. But I think the D line, and talking about the D line, it all comes down to Clark, because Chris Jones, I think, is the second best interior pass rusher in football, behind Aaron Donald. I think Chris Jones is very, very elite. We just haven't had a lot from the outside. Last year, we did not have a lot from the outside. Frank Clark gave up red meat and alcohol this year and has lost like 20 pounds. He looks way, way thinner in camp. He definitely is way, way thinner. I'm not ready. I don't want to anoint Frank Clark. Like, he's been a disappointing signing since we traded for him in general. So I'm going to wait to see what happens in the season, but he's at least saying and doing the right things appearance-wise to be a difference maker on the edge like he was in Seattle. Like, if he can be who he was in Seattle, like, that's an elite pass rusher from the edge to go along with Carl Laftis has been good in camp. I'll move to the offensive side. Wide receiver core. Yeah, we lost Tyreek Hill. He's good. He's very, very good. We don't have anyone that can replace him. Not even close, Chris. But we're so much deeper at wide receiver. So much deeper. Juju fits perfectly for the short to intermediate. He's the possession guy that can make our catches when we need him to pick up like a third and short. You have Valdez-Scantling, who can take it over the top. Skye Moore, the rookie, has looked, and this is from guys like reporters in camp that are like, I didn't think Skye Moore would contribute a lot this year. And then they see him in camp and they're like, I was wrong.
Everybody
like,
looks good.
Okay. Skye Moore looks very good in camp. And then you have McCole Hardman. Like, they're 4 deep at wide receiver, and they're going to be fine. And they don't have an elite running back, but they have they have like 4 guys at running back that could all contribute, including a 7th rounder, Isaiah Pacheco, that looks very good in camp. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. And here's what it all comes down to, Chris. Football in general, unfortunately, comes down to who has the best quarterback and who has the best head coach. Those are the 2 most important things on the team, in my mind. I could be wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
When you look at that, who has the best quarterback in this division, Chris?
It's Kansas City.
Who has the best coach in this division, Chris?
Las Vegas.
Okay.
No. Yeah, Kansas City. Andy Reid's one of the best the coaches in the NFL.
So let's keep in mind. What did you say the win total was for the Chiefs? Like a 10?
Right now we have the win total for the Chiefs at, let's see, Kansas City 10.5.
Okay. Andy Reid on with the Chiefs with Alex Smith. Do you remember the year? It was a running joke. The Chiefs did not throw a touchdown pass to a wide receiver all season. Do you remember that? It was like a running joke. It was a thing. What do you think the Chiefs' record was that year, Chris?
I couldn't tell you.
10-6. They were 10-6 without throwing a touchdown pass in 16 games to a wide receiver. Are you telling me that this roster with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and let's keep in mind, they still have the best tight end in the league as well. Let's not even bring him up. And when I say they might have the best offensive line in the NFL, I mean it. Outside of right tackle, which is a little bit of a question mark, but still okay, they're so good everywhere else. Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, elite. It's a great offensive line. They have the best tight end in the league. The wide receiving core is deep. There's not a Tyreek Hill, but maybe that turns out to be a good thing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But this is gonna be a top 5 offense in the league. There's no way this isn't a top 5 offense. You move to the defense, you're right. They have a lot of youth they're gonna rely on, especially in the secondary. They did they lost Tyrann Mathieu. They replaced with Justin Reed. We'll see how that goes. I like Justin Reed, but who knows? You mentioned Juan Thornhill, but like Trent McDuffie's a rookie. They might start another. They have Sneed, who's their other corner, L'Jarius Sneed, but then their third corner might be another rookie. They have 2 guys that they're looking at there, so they're going to be young in the secondary, especially at corner. So that is an unproven area for sure. But this team is the best team in the division and should be the favorite. And the fact that they're at plus 155 is wild to me. I think that's crazy. They should be closer to even odds, in my opinion.
So you need to get some money on them then.
I will. It's a great division. The Chiefs, just until they're taken off, like, I know these teams are better and improved, but the Chiefs have owned this division for the last 6 years. I know I said I think they've won it 6 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Current
they own it.
Current division winners from the history of this division: AFL, AFC West, all the way back to when it was the Dallas Texans and the Chiefs. Broncos have 15 division championships. You are at 14. The Raiders 15, Chargers 15. That is the most even spread of division winners probably of any division in football. Would you think?
That sounds pretty even, Chris.
But you need
irrelevant for this year. But
if the Chiefs win this year, it'll be 15 each division titles all time. Kind of wild.
Broncos is I think the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. Diacola might win the division, but they will once again watch the Super Bowl from their couch, which is a little ironic because they've played in 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
One thing I will say that
in the other 2, they were in the AFC Championship in overtime. So maybe not.
One thing I will say about this, we've talked a lot about. All right, so best quarterbacks win more than anything, right? That's what you need to win. Keep in mind, the best quarterback, it doesn't always win the Super Bowl. Like that's just a fact, right? The best quarterback in the league, you could be the MVP, you could be Aaron Rodgers of the league this many times. You could be Brett Favre and only win very minimal Super Bowls, like 1 Super Bowl. You could be Dan Marino, be one of the best quarterbacks in the league and not win very many Super Bowls. It is hard to win Super Bowls regardless of how good you are as a quarterback. A lot has to go right. So with that being said, just because, there's some good quarterbacks in the league doesn't mean the number 1 quarterback wins it every single year. So,
sure.
I mean, that's always an argument I always say when it comes to all right, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. He's going to win it every year.
But they often win their division.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's also, again, coaching. It's also, the Rams won last year. There's a lot of factors that play into a full season, which makes the NFL what it is, right? So you're not always getting the, Aaron Rodgers and so we'll find out. It'll be a fun season. I can't wait. AFC West is going to be fire.
Is going to be so fun.
It's going to be fire, and I can't wait. We're going to watch a lot of these games. Thursday Night Football, guys, is going to be fire this year. We keep getting a little bit more information on maybe having some fun on Thursday night with you guys and maybe having some fun things to talk about. We'll keep you posted, but we don't want to say anything too early. Guys, stick with us here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Catching up in the chat.
There's a lot in the chat we didn't get
Broncos, to. I think Scott just had the Chiefs baby. I did. I, in fact, have had many Chiefs babies. Mr. Boofus Doofus, you don't think the Raiders could possibly take the division? I mean, I think it's possible. I'm not going to pick it. I'm definitely not going to pick it. I mean, they're clearly the long shot according to Vegas. I like them probably more than most, quite frankly, but I would not pick them to win a division. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. I think they're a good team. They're a good team just in a really good division, unfortunately. Let's see. G Girl, I love the Coach QB comment. Look, see, she's slowly coming around to always agreeing with me. She's like, he might be a genius.
That's right.
I think that's part of the problem with people giving me a compliment and why they have to preface it with like a negative thing is when I get a compliment, I take it like it gets in my head real quick and I just put it out of proportion. Like it's annoying.
It's like when someone says, "Hey, I love what you're doing with your look," but
yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, the chairman said she's like slowly, and chairman's like she'll get there. Chairman knows. Chairman agrees with me on everything. Chairman might be a genius as well. Maybe.
No. But yeah.
G Girl, I disagree with you all the time, Chairman, but I still love you. So, and now we've hit a crossroads again.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up all of our division previews. It's been a long road with that, and I'm so glad to get it just out there. You guys kind of have some ideas of what teams are working with when it comes to some of the big time, additions, subtractions, where we think they can potentially land on their division. So, go back. If you want to go back and look at some of these, you can check it out on our Spotify, on our iHeart, on our Apple, Amazon Music, anything. We have it all there. Also, we will be posting all these videos on YouTube, so make sure you go check out YouTube channel. I'm trying to get those uploaded. I'm playing a little catch up on YouTube, so make sure you just go in and I'll get all of those added.